These are the things to expect when in Vietnam. Now, I am not an expert on the people, the culture, and the country itself of Vietnam, but I do brought a lot of experiences from my trip there. And I'm about to tell you what I brought back. These are the things to expect when in Vietnam. Number one is food. If you're not really a fan of vegetables, then you're going to have a hard time when you're in Vietnam because a lot of their meals, well, they're mostly vegetables, fish, and vegetables, and also their drink is mostly tea. Whenever we sit down or go inside a restaurant, the first thing that they're going to serve you is tea. Hot or cold, but usually it's hot tea. Luckily, I am a fan of vegetables and also I love Vietnamese cuisine. Number two is mode of transportation. Unlike here in the Philippines, we have a lot of, well, not really a lot of, but there are jeepneys, tricycles, pedicabs, taxis, MRT, LRTs, UV Express vans. There in Vietnam, we usually used our, well, during our tour, we used a private bus. We usually used a taxi, and that's just about it. But you have other options. There are Grab motorcycles there in Vietnam. Most people in Vietnam use motorcycles because having a car is a lot expensive there. So expect a lot of motorcycles on the road, and you could grab a motorcycle if you want to. Number three is language barrier. So there was this time when we went inside an taxi cab and the taxi driver didn't understand a single English word that we were saying. So we had trouble with telling him where we were going. We didn't know why he doesn't even understand the place that we were going to. Maybe it's like an English translation. I'm not really sure, but there was this huge language barrier between us that we decided to just gesture where we were going. Like if we're going to go straight, we say and then if we're going to go left, Para kaming mga pipe. Pipe is mute in Filipino, and I don't know, we had a hard time even though we had a map. He had a map, but he still didn't understood where we were going. But just in case, bring a map with you, Waze, or have internet connection so you wouldn't have a hard time telling, especially taxi drivers, because like, two of the taxi drivers that we had did not understand a single English that we said. So yeah, it is very helpful to bring a map with you. And what surprised me was when we were in Bentan Market, there were sellers there who understand and even speak Filipino. And that just tells us that a lot of Filipinos go there and buy stuff from them. That's why they know how to speak Filipino. Number four is, speaking of market haggling. Now, if you're going to buy anything at a store that does not have a fixed price, then if the seller tells you that, okay, the price is 600,000 dong, you should ask half of the price or less than half of the price for it, so that they will give you a lower price than what their initial offer is. And they usually show you the price through a calculator because they don't want other customers and sellers to know what they're selling the product to you for. And yeah, that's my experience. You should haggle a lot. But if that does not work, then what you should do is slowly walk away. Walk away from the seller and wait for him or her to scream and tell you the price that they're going to sell it to you. So maybe your 600,000 dong might become 300,000 or 250,000 dong. Number 5, another thing about the market is there are some aggressive vendors. Now, I'm not saying that all vendors are aggressive, but there are some vendors that the moment that you just point or hold the product that they have, they were going to force you to buy from them. So do not be scared, tempted, or be succumb to their forcefulness or aggressiveness. Just let them know that you're just checking out the product, and if you're not going to buy it, then tell them you're not going to buy it. And yeah, they just really want to sell their products. So number 6 is crossing roads might be deadly, and the reason is there are a lot of motorcycles there in Vietnam, and they do not usually give way to pedestrians. And what else? During our stay there, nobody died, but there were times when we felt like we would. So if you're not really good at crossing roads, just follow other people or be very cautious of crossing. Number 7 is thieves and scams. And for thieves, well, nobody really had an experience with stolen goods or stolen money at all during our stay in Vietnam, but there were some people in our group that experienced riding on a taxi that had a tampered meter, so they like paid twice or thrice the supposed payment cost of the taxi ride. And the lesson there is you should only use a Vinasun or a Mylene taxi, because some taxis, if you're going to use them, you're just going to pay a lot more than what you're supposed to. Taxi fares in Vietnam are fairly cheap, even compared to the Philippines. One time we only paid about 22 pesos. Yep, only 22 pesos. Now, regarding the thieves, even though that we did not even experience a single thing with thievery during our stay there, our guide always reminds us to keep our things very tightly close to us, and if we're crossing the street, do not put our cell phones out or our cameras, because someone might just steal them from you. But luckily, we did not experience any of that. 8 is church schedules, and yeah. So there's this church in Vietnam named Notre Dame Cathedral. Yeah, just like the one in France. And I was only able to see it outside and not see the interior of it, because there are church schedules, and also if you're inside, according to some of the people that I was with that was able to go inside, you're not allowed to take pictures. Next is money exchange. To be honest, we did not really have any problems in terms of exchanging money from Philippine pesos to dong there. It was convenient, because in front of our hotel there was a money exchange store. Also, they accept different kinds of currencies, and it was the only time when I became a millionaire, because I think the exchange rate was like 1 peso is to, how much was that again? I forgot, but the value of Philippine peso is more than the Vietnamese dong, so I became a millionaire there in Vietnam. Also, during our stay there, I wasn't able to hold a single Vietnamese coin dong, but I was able to hold a bill that was only 1,000 dong, and that doesn't really have much value there. And imagine what a coin would be valued at. If 1,000 dong does not much have value anymore, then I think that's the reason why they don't have coins. Number 10 is the War Remnants Museum. If you go to Vietnam, make sure that you visit the War Remnants Museum. And brace yourself because you're going to see some atrocities of war and have a better understanding of what happened to the country during the Vietnam War. 11. Food is cheap. Number 12 is at night, there are food stalls that pop up like mushrooms or capote. So at night, you will be surprised that the streets of Vietnam suddenly become a long restaurant because a lot of homes, well, they turn their front doors or their front, it's not really a road or a lawn, the front of their houses as a, well, restaurant. Number 14, toilets in Vietnam are well maintained and tourist friendly. They usually have tissue and even bidet and flushable toilets. And I'm very thankful for that because I have a very sensitive tummy and I really love to eat Vietnamese cuisine and experience their culture. And because of that, then yep, I have to use the toilet often. Number 15 is expect to meet a lot of tourists there. What I notice about Vietnam is there are a lot of nationalities and tourists that go to Vietnam. Unlike here in the Philippines, it is rare that you would meet or see a tourist or speak to a tourist. Because there in Vietnam, during our stay, it was like a tourist magnet really. Because everywhere you look, there is a tourist. And yeah, there was this one time that I had a conversation with a Sri Lanka girl. She saw me combing my hair when I was in the restroom, and she was like, "Oh, you have beautiful hair." And yeah, we had a conversation. It was the first time that I had a conversation or met a Sri Lanka girl. Number 16 is to expect to give tips to a lot of people. Not necessarily a large tip, but there are times that your paddler or the person manning the horse or the person helping you will ask for a tip, and just always be ready with a few Vietnamese dongs so that you would have no problems during your trip there, and you won't be giving out a huge bill. So just ask for the money exchange teller to give you like 20,000. Is there 20,000? Maybe 10,000 dong or 15,000 dong. I'm not really sure if they have 20,000. I forgot already. Number 17 is bring an umbrella and sunscreen because it is hot. It's like in the Philippines. Even though there are a lot of trees, it is still hot. Lastly, expect a place that is rich in culture, proud of itself, and a beautiful place, also scorned by war, but is now rising from the ashes, now in a renaissance.